Today I'm here to talk about the first lens that I would pair with a LUMIX camera. So I'm gonna be talking about all those details, and we're kind of under a little time crunch because one, Jeff, he needs to leave by like 2 o'clock, which is great because also there's a really good gyudon Japanese place, and I said I'd buy him lunch if he helped me come film, but it closes at 1:30. But I gotta cover a lot of things on this lens. So let's get started. So also another reason we're kind of under a time crunch is, well, it's raining. I kind of had a vision in my head for what I wanted to do for this video, but yeah, now I guess we're testing the splash and water resistance of the S5 IIX and the G9 Mark II. So he's on the G9 Mark II. Because yeah, this lens is splash and water resistant. It's also freeze resistant. The reason why this lens is so cool though, kind of its big talking point or whatever about it, is it is the smallest and lightest 28-200 lens compared to the competition. So like the Sony, the Tamron, and the Nikon version of these lenses are bigger. This is only about 413 grams, which is, look at it. It's tiny, right? And even at full extension, it's still really tiny. It's also an f4 to f7.1. I know if you're a videographer like me, I'm not really a photographer, you tend to be like, oh, well, it's just an f.71 because that variable f-stop is not great, but there's something about the variable f-stop that makes it kind of more viable for videographers, but especially for anybody, especially beginners, I would say, or just somebody who wants to throw one lens in their bag while they're traveling, right? Yeah, let's say you're traveling and you want to pack only one lens. This one will have pretty much everything covered for you. 28-200. That's wild. If you have any doubt if LUMIX cameras, if you have any doubt that LUMIX cameras or their lenses are water and splash resistant, or rain resistant, I guess. We're putting it through the trenches right now. So something that I learned on this lens about variable f-stop lenses is that sometimes on some of them, when you go from say like the lowest focal length to the highest focal length, maybe like halfway through, you'll already be at the max f-stop that the lens can go to. So you'll jump from like, on this lens, f4 to 7.1, but the cool thing about this lens is that LUMIX, they've adjusted that curve of how it does the variable f-stop. So you'll be at f4 at 28 millimeters, and then you don't get to f7.1 until you get to 200 millimeters. So it makes it more useful while you're shooting video because that transition, those exposure adjustments, it does it smoothly instead of, you know, jumping straight up to like an f7.2, or sorry, an f7.1, so it's pretty cool. I chose the perfect day to do this. Rainy, and the raindrops are just gonna ruin every shot on the front of the camera. Another thing that makes this lens pretty cool and more like it covers everything is that it's also half macro when you're at 28 millimeters. So you can get up to 14 centimeters away from whatever you're trying to focus on. And it's a half macro, so it's not full macro, but still, you know, it basically is macro, or in a pinch, you can, you know, use it as a half macro. And another thing, when you're shooting macro, a lot of the times you maybe want to have more things in focus. You gotta be at a higher f-stop. Well, this goes to f22, but when you're at 28 millimeters, you can go to f32. And then when you're at 200 millimeters, you can go to f45. Sorry, should I macro my spit? Gross. You can also spy on people, because remember, we're 200 millimeters, right? This is the best peeping Tom lens that you can buy on the market right now. So here I am, 28 millimeters. And then, what is that person doing? I don't know, let's zoom in. I actually used to work at that building. Fun fact. When I started this YouTube channel, I was working there. Not at the Spoon Cafe, that building. Another reason I think that this lens is one of the best to pair with your LUMIX camera, like if you just bought a LUMIX camera, is because it also has optical image stabilization. If you are kind of like into the vloggy thing, right? 28 millimeters, you know, it's not extremely wide, but you can do it, right? And then you've got OIS, it's 6.5 stops of stabilization. So like you can walk, you can kind of jog like this, and it's still pretty stable, right? Pretty stable. I'm kind of jogging. This is full frame. We're not on micro four thirds. We don't have the insane, you know, IBIS of the G9 Mark II. Dude, that thing is, the G9 Mark II has insane IBIS. Did you watch that video when I sprinted with that thing on like full IBIS on?
Yeah.
Dude, that thing is crazy.
It's actually pretty good. I was surprised.
But anyways, yeah. So you can do a little bit of like vlogging stuff as well with this. And the OIS just, it helps, right? I just filmed somebody doing something illegal. He was jaywalking. Turn him in. We caught somebody breaking the law. With this lens, he didn't even know. And when you buy something from LUMIX, you know you're getting something where they put a lot of care into the quality of the lens too. They call it high resolution. So basically, no matter what focal length you're at and f-stop, you're going to get a nice sharp image across the whole image. It's not like in the center it's going to be really sharp and on the sides it's a little bit softer, and when you compare it to the competition that does kind of happen. But yeah, you'll get a nice, really good, consistent image across the whole image. You also get really nice smooth bokeh. Everybody loves their smooth bokeh, especially when you compare to the competition. And they've got controlled focus breathing as well. I may not be able to do the bokeh right now because the raindrops will kind of make it look not as smooth, but we'll have Dustin back home do something. Yeah, one of the reasons that you want to have really little focus breathing is for things like focus stacking. It's very well controlled on this. What time is it? Are we on time? We're gonna miss lunch? We got time, but we might cut it close. We'll see. We got to move on to the next thing. So if you watch some of my previous videos, you probably saw that we're kind of working on a project behind the scenes. Jeff's a part of that. He was there. He's actually the one that brought me into it, and it's an exciting project. So I'll leave a link down below if you want to look and see what that project is. There's been some teasers in some of my past videos. So this is handheld at 200 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to do a little rack focus here. Look how smooth and just stable that is, man. The combination, OIS, and the in-body, you don't even need a tripod. You don't even need a gimbal. Okay, you need a gimbal, but it's close. They're getting there. I really like the direction that LUMIX is going with these lenses too, because this is a similar size to like the 20 to 60 millimeter, the kit lens. Then you can go straight into getting like the 14 to 28 if you want to have something that's a bit wider. And then you can move into getting the primes as well. They're all 67 millimeter threads, so it's a cool direction that they're going. You know those people on TikTok that just like get famous for taking pictures of strangers? It always feels weird to me when I'm taking a picture of a stranger.
My favorite one is like, oh, wait for the final shots, and then the final shots you're like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, how did this person have 500,000 followers? But hey, people probably say that about my stuff. We're coming up on 15,000. So subscribe, because we'll be at 100,000 before you know it. So right now I'm gonna do a really slow shutter, like macro shot, handheld. We're gonna see how that OIS does. It almost looks like I will have added these raindrops in post, but they're just on the front of my lens. And at f32, they're focused on them.
It's actually pretty crazy.
That is actually pretty crazy. I got pictures of strangers now, and I'm gonna post them online. Am I famous yet? Remember when the last time we did this, it was like really hopping. There's people everywhere. Obviously it's raining and it's like a weekday, so nobody's gonna be here. But then there was the guy that tried to hire me, and then the duck we found at the end.
Oh yeah.
What are we gonna see this time? I don't know. What time is it? Are we making time? Are we gonna miss lunch? I think that place is somewhere up here. Maybe we need to start running, I don't know. While we're running, to make sure that we don't miss our lunch, the lens will come in at $8.99, which is pretty good if you compare it to the competition too. So where is this place? We're like really coming down to the wire. we made it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm gonna leave a link in the description to the lens. It's an affiliate link, so you can buy from there. It supports the channel, so thank you. But yeah, besides that, itadakimasu.